Matthew Lloyd has a question, and it's, should we be concerned that union bosses now think Trump is fantastic? For decades, they've been joined at the hip with the Democratic Party. Have they changed, or has Trump? The short answer is that Trump has changed, but the question is, should we be concerned about this? And my feeling is yes and no. We should be concerned that we should be concerned that so many unions have very shady financial arrangements, let's just say. We should be concerned that a lot of unions force their members to pay their dues. And we should also be concerned with the fact that the history of unions and the intersection of unions and government has been one of ongoing, almost perpetual corruption since the invention of private unions. Now, with that said, the Democrats have hurt themselves in a way that they clearly do not understand. I think conservatives understand much better than progressives just how badly the progressives have hurt themselves. 4 months ago, we were talking about the death of the Republican Party, the never-Trumpers and the Trump people in a perpetual civil war, the Republican Party splitting into two parts, a conservative party and then a kind of a rhino party, and the Democrats would be ruling for the foreseeable future, and they were just one solid block and all the rest of it. Well, it turns out none of that was true. It's a Democratic Party that's in absolute disarray. They've lost 1,000 seats under Barack Obama, state seats in various legislatures, 1,000. They've lost governorships. They've lost all this stuff. Their party's fallen apart, but that's just the outcome. That's just the metric that you can measure how badly the party's coming apart. That's not the cause of it, though. The cause of this enormous decline in Democrat influence and a continuing decline in Democrat influence every single day is that the Democratic Party didn't just lose a voting bloc to Donald Trump. They lost their identity, and you can pretty safely say they lost their soul. The Democrats, for 100 years at least, have positioned themselves as the party of the little guy. We're the people that stand up against these rich and powerful millionaire capitalists. You need to vote Democrat if you're a working person because we're the only people that will stop you from being chained to your coal pick and being shuttled off into the mines, and all the rest of it. So it's not just that they lost the average American working person. They didn't just lose that block, which cost them the presidential election and is costing them down the road. When you lose the working man, the Democrats have lost their brand. They've lost their soul. They've lost their identity. They've lost everything they believe in. And, it's not good if you're a Democrat. It's good for the country, but it's certainly not good for the Democratic Party. So while I'm a little concerned about the corruption involved with high-level Democratic donors and unions and all the rest of it, I think that this is a tremendous opportunity. And every time I say an opportunity, I'm obviously talking about a political opportunity, but I would never want a political opportunity that was good for the Republican Party or conservatives and bad for the country. If I thought that were the case, I would support it. What I think is interesting is Donald Trump has spoken to these people in a way that the Democrats have not, because the Democrats for 20 years now, certainly the last 8 years, starting with Clinton, I want to say, they've drifted further and further away from ordinary working people. The Democrats are now the party of millionaires, like Bill Gates and Warren Buffett and Zuckerberg. They're the party of movie stars and rock stars and Beyonce and George Clooney and all the rest. And they're the party of the LGBT community. That's all they've got in their pocket solidly. Donald Trump stole some black votes away from him, some Hispanic votes. If we could get the act together and get the message out there, we'd have all of them. But they've lost something they've lost the ring, is what they've lost. They've lost the ring. They're like Gollum in a cave. They don't even know it's missing yet. But when they do, when it finally dawns on them, they're going to start howling like Gollum, and then they're going to spend a lot of time looking for that ring. And I don't think they're going to find it because they're determined not to. They are determined to to continue believing what they believe, and despite the fact that it doesn't work. And so there you go. That's what happens when you have that kind of an ideological religion in front of you. So I think it's very, very good for Republicans to connect to working people. If we could become the party, you know who the key is here? I'll tell you who just flew into my head. We need to be the party of Mike Rowe. Mike Rowe should be our graven image. We should create a gigantic golden statue of Mike Rowe. If you don't know who Mike is, he's the host of Dangerous Catch, and he's just one of the most American guys I've ever seen or met. Proud to say that I met him a few times, and I'm even more proud to say he's a fan of the work that I did. But what Mike Rowe is he's a conservative, but Mike Rowe is so effective. He's so charismatic and so kind, basically, and gentle. But Mike Rowe is saying, no, working people have decency and working people have integrity, and they're not something wrong with them. It's not like they're too stupid to go to college. So Mike Rowe is our guy, and if I was going to nominate anybody for president after Donald Trump, it'd be Mike. I think Mike would win 80%. I can't even estimate how much of the country Mike Rowe would win. He'd win 80, 90% of the country. Every single conservative in the world beat behind him, 100%. His ability to connect with common people. He did the show called Dirty Jobs. He would be in a tannery, and he would be underneath the cities scooping out giant clumps of sewage. And he'd be in a factory where they're processing chicken guts, and he would be with exterminators who have to go in and attack a giant, nest of hornets that are the size of an entire room. He's the absolute perfect thing. And watching him now on the internet with, here's how I heard it. It's just him and a laptop, and he talks into the camera, and his voice and his mannerisms so calm and strong and nice. Mike Rowe is the future of this movement. He's everything that we should be, and he's also everything that we don't have. He's handsome, charismatic, smart, hardworking, modest, dedicated, and relaxed. It's an absolute amazing, amazing thing. That's where we should be going, Matthew. We should be taking Mike Rowe out there and winning all of the working people in this country over to the Republican Party, because it's a chance for you as an individual to do better. We want you to keep more of your money. How hard is this? We want you to keep more of your money, and we want you to do what you want to do, as long as you don't hurt anybody else. How can you not sell this? We found a way somehow. Mitch McConnell could find a way to not sell Disneyland to kids. If Mitch McConnell was in charge of advertising for children for Disneyland, then you would never ever see another child in the Magic Kingdom again. So it's just the way it is.